Hello everybody, welcome back to Learning Biology, and today we're going to start talking about 17.2. Okay, 17.2嗰度啦. So we are now on page 5. You may prepare your book. And in this section, we're going to talk about the function and the organization. Organization means 佢哋個結構啦，佢哋個框架啦。Okay, so which bone is called what, like that, and the functions. Alright, the function part is quite important, and I'm afraid this video will be longer than the first one. Okay, if you need to like pause it, if you need to like divide it into and watch it for like 2 or 3 times, please feel free. 得唔得？你自己分開睇2、3次嘅，自己睇啦，自己決定啦。Alright, so first one, this page I am likely not going to talk about them in detail in class, and you should be able to remember all the names, be able to read them yourself. 你自己記得到㗎啦 alright, by this video. Okay, so when we talk about the human skeleton, okay, so it can be divided into 2 parts, 兩個主要嘅部分啦。One of them is called the axial skeleton. 自己都讀啦 axial. So axial is very common. There is another word called axis. Okay, so axis, what is this word? Let's see if you remember and can answer me immediately. So you should be able to tell me is a x-axis and y-axis. Axis 中文就係軸啦, so it is more important. Alright, it is very important. 佢係一個軸嚟嘅，主軸嚟嘅，得唔得？ X 軸 Y 軸啦。And then there is another word, as you can see here. I'm not able to highlight it yet, but anyways, we say 自己讀啦 appendicular. Appendicular. So appendicular is very similar to another word. Please write it down. It's called appendix. Appendix. Appendix 就係指一個嘅附錄啊。Okay, so it's like supplementary information. 一個附錄嚟嘅。Okay, so it's just like addition. And of course, is it more important or less important? 相對嚟講咧，就會係 less important 嘅 comparatively. Alright, so let's continue. 好啦，我哋講 when we talk about the actual skeleton 啦，我哋就會講到啦，佢係一個 central axis 嗰度嘅，係中軸嗰度嘅。So what is included in our actual skeleton？ 包括我哋嘅 skull 啦，頭顱啦 ，vertebral column， 我哋嘅一個嘅脊骨 ，OK， 脊骨唔好寫錯字啊，唔係脊椎啊 ，OK， 或者我哋嘅脊柱啦 ，OK in Chinese. So you can look at the Chinese word below or online, OK 脊柱。And when we talk about the vertebral column, we will also use the word backbone, okay, or spine. Remember, spine is not the same as spinal cord. Spine, again, spine is not the same, 唔一樣嘅 as spinal cord. Okay, so it's better to use the vertebral column all the time. You will also see this word in the questions, usually. 得唔得？好啦，除咗我哋嘅 skull， 除咗我哋嘅 spinal cord， 除咗我哋嘅 vertebral column, and what is the last one? The last one is called the rib cage. 我哋嘅肋骨腩啦。Okay, so when you look at the diagram below, the green area, okay, the green area, these 3 areas are the actual skeleton. Skull 啦 rib cage 啦，同埋一 vertebral column. Okay, 好啦 and the next one 我哋就會講到 so their function mainly 啦 since they're actual, right? 咁佢哋 very important. 佢主要係做 support and protect 一個嘅 internal organs 嘅。佢哋會 support our body 啦，係支撐我哋嘅身體，同埋 protect 我哋嘅內臟嘅。And then the next one, appendicular skeleton. 咁前面講咗啦，好似 appendix 咁。So where can you find this appendicular skeleton? You can find all the other bones. 所有嘅其他位置啦，都會叫做 appendicular skeleton 啦。And they mainly contain 2 parts 或者 2 groups. 呢兩個 group 一個叫做 limb bones. Limb bones. Limb 講過啦 ，limb means our hands, our arms, our legs， 得唔得 ？And the girdles， 自己讀到呢一隻字啦 ，girdles。So girdles in Chinese is 一隻字叫帶 ，so just like a belt. Alright. So what are girdles? We can look at the diagram below. So forelimb and hind limb, they are very easy to understand. I won't talk about them. Okay. So forelimb means the hand, hind limb means the leg. Alright, easy. But then we can see two girdles here，指到度啦，一個叫做 pectoral girdle，pectoral girdle， 另外一個叫做 pelvic girdle，pelvic girdle。Alright, so when you look at these girdles, how do you think that it is different from the normal bones? 佢係同正常嘅骨有啲咩分別呢？ Pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle, how are they different from the normal bones? Okay, as you may see, or you may also put it down, they are usually broader, 闊啲啦, and larger in size. Okay, so they are somehow connecting 係連接緊乜嘢啊 ？Connecting the other skeletons, the other bones to the actual skeleton. 佢係嘗試連接緊其他嘅 bones. For example, 可能係我哋嘅 limbs 啦 ，limb bones 係 to the actual skeleton 嘅。佢嘗試連接住呢兩個骨嘅。Alright? Okay, so that's all about the appendicular skeleton and the actual skeleton. 好啦，接落嚟啦 ，this area, please make sure you are able to read it and can distinguish different bones. Okay? 好啦，咁第一樣嘢啦 for the skull 頭顱啦，講咗啦 ，rib cage. Rib cage can be divided into two parts, and we'll repeat this word again in the next part. But one word you need to remember is called the rib. Rib 就係我哋嘅肋骨啦 ，OK? And this one in the front 嗰度前邊嘅部分啦 ，this one 我哋叫做胸骨。胸骨 in English is sternum. Alright? 好啦，然後咯 when we talk about the appendicular skeleton, 咁我哋由 from top to the bottom 喺個 pectoral girdle 嗰陣時，我哋喺呢度講緊呢塊大嚿啲嘅骨嗰陣時啦 ，the larger bone over here. So first one, this one, you can touch it. When you touch your shoulder, there is a bone sticking out， 會一嚿骨突咗出嚟嘅。And that's one, no matter for male or female, most people find it more sexy to have this bone, as in more obvious. OK， 越明顯嘅話呢嚿骨咧，感覺上俾人感覺上係性感啲嘅。Alright, so this bone is called the collarbone. 自己睇到啦 ，collarbone。咁我哋中文就係鎖骨啦。Okay, so I'll only teach you Chinese if they are more common. Okay, so for the bones below, I won't be teaching you the Chinese word. Okay, if you're interested, you can just look at the definition below. 好啦，咁之後嚟啦 ，there is also this shoulder bone. So shoulder bone, you can definitely see it. It is more broad， 係闊啲嘅。So this shoulder bone, 當然啦，我哋可以用另外一個名，就叫做係一個肩胛骨。Okay, so this bone, if you are having backache， 即係你背脊痛嘅話啦 ，this bone is very effective. Okay, very very important bone. Talk to you more about it in class. And these two bones make up the pectoral girdle. Sorry. 好啦 and then moving on， 我哋會有個 forelimb， 我哋嘅手嗰個位置啦。So forelimb, we have this top one 最高嘅 ，of course it's relatively thicker， 係厚身啲嘅啦。We call it the humerus， 自己讀到啊 humerus。And then for our front hand 前半部分啦 ，you will see there it is made up of two bones. One of them relatively thicker and the other one thinner. Thicker 嗰個或者 closer to our thumb， 我會咁樣教嘅。Closer to our thumb 近我哋手指嗰嚿啦 ，we call it the radius. 然後啦 ，farther away from our thumb 遠離我哋嘅拇指多啲嘅嗰個我哋叫 ulna。Okay, so these three words, please read with me. Humerus, radius, ulna. And then the next part, 我哋會叫 pelvic girdle. 好啦 and again this thicker bone 包括乜嘢啊？呢一個位置 this area, we always call it the hip. Okay, so not difficult. This one is the hip bone. 中文臀骨 ，OK 臀骨。好啦，咁然之後咯，另外啦 ，we have this pelvis. So pelvis is also one very typical word in Chinese. We always hear about 就我哋嘅盤骨啦，或者骨盤都得嘅，得唔得 ？Alright. So read it: hip bone, pelvis. And the last part is called the hind limb. Okay, about our legs. 咁 the thickest one 最粗一條啦 we call it the femur. And then there is this kneecap. We learn about this when we talk about the knee-jerk reflex. Alright? When we're tapping the area right below our kneecap, then we will have this reflex action. 就會有呢個反射動作啦，失約反射啦。And then the one again, thicker, is the one closer to our, I don't know, how do we say 腳趾公? The thumb. Oh gosh, I don't know. Okay, the thumb part of our toes. Okay, 喺腳趾嗰個最大嗰度啦，腳趾公啦。So that one, the one closer to our thumbs will always be thicker, and this one is called the tibia. And the one further away from the thumbs of a foot 就會叫做 fibula. Alright, 指多一次啦 femur, the thickest bone, kneecap, 膝頭哥啦 and then the one closer to our thumb, tibia, the one further away from our thumb, fibula. Alright? 所以啦 one last time, just repeat it once after me, okay? 由頂到落底啦。So pectoral girdle will have this collarbone, 鎖骨 shoulder bone. Forelimb will have this humerus, thickest bone, closer to our thumb, radius, further away from our thumb, ulna. Pelvic girdle, hip bone, pelvis, 盤骨骨盤. Hind limb, okay, above our legs, thickest bone, femur, kneecap, tibia, fibula. Alright? Hope this diagram, I would say it requires time to remember, but is it super duper important? The answer is may not be. 得唔得? So there are some questions in the past actually asking the structure's name, but recent years there are less questions asking you about this. But still, it's better for you to remember at least that these words 包括啲 girdle or limb 嘅 words and some of the more important words here. Okay? 最好都記一記嘅. Alright? So I'm sorry I spent like 10 minutes on this page only, but please keep up with me. Okay, 再講啦. If you really have need to pause this video, please feel free. 得唔得? Okay, so first part, we're going to talk about the actual skeleton, 主軸嘅嗰個骨頭啦. So the actual skeleton, there are 3 parts, right? 有3個部分嘅. First one, skull 啦. 第二個就會係我哋嘅 vertebral column 啦，脊柱啦。And the last one is the rib cage, right? 我哋嘅肋骨眼啦. So first one, talking about the skull. 咁我哋就會知道啦. So the skull consists of 2 things. 其中一嚿啦就係 cranium. We learn about this in chapter 16. 就係我哋嘅顱骨. Okay? And the facial bones. So what does it mean by facial bones? So facial 呢個字我哋就會知係關塊面事啦 related to our face. Alright? So for example, our jaws. Jaws 就係我哋嗰個嘅，我睇睇中文先啦，就係我哋嗰個嘅顎骨。sorry， 顎骨啦。And then, the cranium is actually made up of different bones. So it's not like a one complete bones. 佢唔係由一嚿組成嘅。It's made of 8 bones. And they're fused together. 佢哋會黐埋一齊啦。And the area which they fuse together, 嗰個位置啦，我哋叫 sutures. Alright? So when are they fused? 佢幾時會 fuse 嘅咧？其實 as you can see on the left, 佢哋呢8個 bones, these 8 bones are not fused when we are still babies. Okay? But they are completely fused when we become adults. 當我哋成為成人嗰陣時咧，就會完全黐埋一嚿噶啦。Okay? So the sutures will be fused together. Alright? So this is also one of the theory why we think that from baby to before they get mature, okay, during this period of time, 喺呢段時間啦 is the best time for them to learn a lot of stuff. Okay, for example, 可能 languages 可能係一啲嘅skills like piano skills, football skills. All of these skills are best learned while they are still young. 得唔得？通常都會係一個呢個原因嘅。Alright? Okay, so next thing. 然後啦 these joints, they are not movable. Joints is a very important word. Please highlight it here first. Joints 其實中文就係指關節 but this joints, we're going to learn about different joints in the later section. 喺後邊嘅部分會講到嘅，得唔得？ So when we talk about joints, 關節啊嘛 usually they are movable. 正常嚟講佢哋係喐得到嘅。But these joints we're talking about, they are not movable. But doesn't really matter, okay? And you can just understand it by common knowledge. Of course, these joints are not movable. Otherwise, it will be like crazy. 得唔得？否則就會黐筋㗎啦。Okay? So then let's look at it. 咁我就會講啦，呢個 cranium. The cranium actually there is some function, and function you would know 就係咩？主力係 protect our brain 啦。當然啦，我哋一啲嘅 organs inside 一啲嘅器官啦，包括我哋嘅 eyes, our ears， 得唔得 ？And then just for more information, upper jaw 我哋嘅上顎啦就會 fused with cranium 嘅。Therefore, it is not movable. You cannot move your upper jaw, but your lower jaw you can move it because it is not fused with the cranium. 得唔得？佢係一個 movable joints 嚟嘅。And this joint we are going to learn this in 7.3. Okay? 好啦 so just a little bit introduction about this skull. As you can see, this whole part is called the cranium. Cranium made up of 8 bones. And there is these areas,或者啲 gaps okay, which will be fused. 佢會融埋一齊啦 when we become adults. These areas, we call it the sutures. 好啦 this one is the orbit holding our eyes. Alright, 有我哋嘅 upper jaw 同埋 lower jaw 嘅上顎下顎啦。And then the next part 我哋就會講到一個嘅 vertebral column. Vertebral column 我哋嘅脊柱啦，脊柱。Okay, so vertebral column is actually made up of 33 vertebrae. 指到度啦 vertebrae 我叫脊椎。So 脊椎 and 脊柱 both of them are actually bones. 搞清楚佢。脊柱 so it's like a rod. Alright? When it's a rod, then it's called a vertebral column. Okay? But then this rod is not like one complete bone. 唔係一個完整嘅骨頭嚟嘅。And it is made up of 33 bones. 呢33個骨 so these 33 bones, we call it the 脊椎. These 33 bones are called the vertebrae. Okay? So when we talk about one of these 33 bones, we call it vertebra. Vertebra 係單數 vertebrae 係雙數啦。Alright? So what does our vertebral column do? This is very important, okay? So please put a star over here and learn about the functions. 得唔得？學一學嗰個功用啦。So first of all, it supports our body. Okay? Support our body. Very easy, right? 咁當然啦mainly about the upper body 係主要係上半部分嘅。Okay? And as you may know, our vertebral column is not a complete straight line. 唔係一個完整嘅直線嚟㗎。It is S-shaped. So why is it S-shaped? Because it can help us absorb shock better. 係吸震嘅。Alright? Absorb shock better. 咁你見到啦，佢 act as a spring. Spring 可以解兩樣嘢，一個係解春天。Of course, this is not meaning the season spring here. It means like a 彈弓. Okay? So, yeah, the spring in your blue ball pen. Okay? 主要第二個就 absorb shock. 第三個 this one, also please put a star here again. This is one key function for a bone. 係骨頭主要嘅功用嚟嘅。So this one is actually providing service for muscle attachments. Please remember this one. Okay? 係俾我哋嘅肌肉去黐住佢。Okay? Provide service for muscle attachments. 好啦，俾佢依附住佢。Therefore, you can maintain your body posture. You can maintain your body. You can keep your body upright. 係企直個人嘅，得唔得 ？Okay? And the last one, it protects the spinal cord. 保護住 the spinal cord 啦。So by here, you can flip back to chapter 16 and you remember that 其實 inside the vertebral column 喺個脊柱入邊啦 you'll be able to find there is a tube 有一個管嘅 and that tube is called the vertebral it's called the spinal cord. Okay? 就會叫 spinal cord 啦，就叫脊髓啦，得唔得 ？Okay, that's all about the functions. Okay? About this vertebral column. 再講一次啦，第一個係 support our body 啦，第二個係去 absorb shock， 因為佢係 S-shaped because it is S-shaped。好，第三個 provide service for muscle attachments。 俾佢黐住啦 ，and maintain our body upright，keep our body upright。最尾啦就係 protect 我哋入邊嘅 internal things， 而呢個 internal thing is called the spinal cord。OK， 好啦，然後咯 ，we're going to talk about 就係呢個嘅我哋話啦，呢個 vertebral column is made of very three vertebrae, right? And actually, in between these vertebrae, we know that there are some cartilage in between them. 呢啲嘅 discs of cartilage，disc 即係代表光碟或者片片嘅 slices of them. So these slices of cartilage, we call it the intervertebral discs. 寫咗度啦 ，intervertebral discs。好啦，點係 inter 即係代表之間嘅。Okay, in between them, in between the vertebrae, you'll be able to find these discs of cartilage. 你會見到一片片嘅軟骨，所以我哋最尾就會叫佢做 intervertebral discs. Okay, 咁 of course they are cartilage, right? So they're compressible. 你可以壓得到佢哋嘅，有彈性嘅。Therefore, your vertebral column they are allowed to bend. Otherwise, you can imagine when the bones and bones are hitting each other. 係掂到對方嘅話咧 ，first of all, you will feel severe pain， 你會覺得激痛啦。And the last one is you keep on hearing some cracking, crushing sounds whenever you move， 得唔得？當你每喐動嗰陣時啦 ，you keep on hearing some sounds， that will be crazy again， 得唔得 ？Okay, so this allows the cartilage 就容許你去 bending 啦 ，and it is also a shock absorber. Okay, so these two is about the function of the cartilage. Okay, if there is no problem, we move on. Hold up, this is the diagram, and this is also the diagram you can find in chapter 16. That's right. Okay, so as you can see, this bone area, 成個 bone 嘅 area 啦，就會叫做 vertebral column. 其中一嚿 one of this bone is called a vertebra. Okay, plural 就叫 vertebrae 啦。So they are actually protecting the spinal cord, as you can see. Okay, 好啦，然後咯 in between 呢個嘅 vertebra and vertebra。You'll be able to see the intervertebral disc， 得唔得？佢哋之間嘅一個碟啦。And this one is actually the cartilage. Okay? So one more thing. So the muscles are going to attach to different parts of this bone. 得唔得？ Different parts of the vertebral column. Alright? 好啦，然後啦 as you can see, there is this space here. 中間有一個位置嘅。This one is for the spinal cord to run through. That means for it to pass through.Alright. 好啦 and then the last part about the actual skeleton， 最後一個部分啦 is the rib cage， 我哋嘅肋骨腩啦。So there are actually made of 12 pairs of ribs. But when you count it carefully, not carefully, I don't know. So you only see, you start from here, okay? The first one is here. You can only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 你會只會見到 10 pairs of these ribs. So why does it say 12?The reason is because when you look at it more carefully, you'll see that there are actually 2 pairs over here at the back. At the back of your vertebral column. 喺後邊嘅，得唔得？ So 12 pairs of ribs and 10 of them is connected. 係黐住咗邊度啊 ？Connected to the sternum. 指多次啦 ，sternum. 佢哋係會連接住個胸骨嘅。So this one is the sternum, and they are also connected to the vertebral column at the back. Okay?Their major function, always about protecting. Protecting 乜嘢啊 this time? They're protecting the lungs and the heart. 得唔得 And also bring about the breathing action. 會幫我哋帶嚟呢個 breathing action 啦。Alright, so when we talk about the breathing action, I hope you remember. So what do we call about this cavity? 呢個空間叫咩名呢 What cavity do we call about this 空間 This cavity. Okay, the answer is thoracic cavity. So please put it down this word.In this area, 得唔得 So just one last piece of information is that when you breathe, okay, remember the air enters at the end of the process. 最尾先至會去導致到有空氣入嚟或者有空氣出去嘅。Okay, the air entering a lung or leaving a lung is the last part of the process. 係最後一個部分嚟嘅。Alright, so as you may remember, just recall very quickly 啦。咁我哋就會係可能 first one 就會有啲嘢 move upward 啦 ，outwards 啦 ，OK， 然之後啦，我哋嘅 thoracic cavity 啦就 becomes larger in size 啦 然後啦，我哋嘅 pressure of 我哋嘅 thoracic cavity 就會係 decreases。Okay? Why does it decrease? Because think about it, the area, the space become larger, but the air inside is the same. 你入邊嘅空氣量一模一樣嘅 ，the amount of air inside the cavity, the area becomes larger. 所以啦，你個 pressure 就會 lower 啦。當個 pressure lower 嗰陣時 last thing we need to remember is 最後一樣嘢要記得嘅 ，air always move from a higher pressure to a lower pressure。所以啦 ，therefore 我哋就會知道就會 air moves in from the environment to our lungs. Okay? So always like this. Just one keyword 就係 thoracic cavity 啦 ，and air always move from a place of higher pressure to a place of lower pressure. That's it. Okay? Pause the video and copy it down yourself. 好，然之後咯喎，this part nothing much to talk about. This is one section of the rib cage, okay? And as you may see, this one is the vertebra, okay? Vertebra 就其中一節啦 ，and this whole ring is the rib， 得唔得？前邊啦 ，this area is the front, this one is the sternum, and you will also be able to find connecting bones 連接住骨與骨之間啦 ，connecting the bones, the sternum and the rib, you'll be able to find some cartilage， 得唔得？你會揾到一啲軟骨嘅。Alright, so I must stop the video here, otherwise it will be too tough for you， 得唔得？所以啦，this one, one last part, fun fact, okay? This one, likely not going to be tested, very likely, okay? So if you are interested, please look at it yourself, and if you're not interested, you may pause the video here, and that's the end of the first video. Alright? So, I'll spend 2 to 3 more minutes talking about this. Alright? 好啦 as you can see, the first fun fact 就係講緊 at birth，喺我哋出世嗰陣時啦 there are actually more bones than when we become adults. 當我哋 become adult 嗰陣時咧，係 less bone 嘅 because the reason, just like a skull, our bones will fuse together. Okay? The next one, 其實 which part of our body has the most bones 咧？邊一個位置係最多嘅骨頭嘅咧？ And that is our hands. Because in both hands 啦，我哋就已經會有54 bones. So we know that we may have this habit of how do I say making some sounds with our hands. 例如我哋會拍個骨啦，會啪啪聲嘅。Alright, so we give out some sounds like when we I don't know how to say that. Okay, I'll demonstrate it when we're in class. Okay, so actually, as you can see here, different bones here will actually result in different. It allows movement. Alright, so why are there a lot of bones in our hands? Because it allows very delicate movements. 佢容許一啲好精細嘅活動嘅。Alright, so even as these, okay, giving out sounds, these are so called as delicate movements. 得唔得？呢啲好精細嘅活動。Alright, and then moving on to number 3, okay, 而我哋嘅 longest bone 咧就會係 about our legs. How do you can find it in our legs? So as the spine, 最長嘅 spine, you can also find it in that area. And for the longest bone, it's called the femur. Okay, the thickest bone of our legs 啦。而 smallest bone 啦就 one of the bones of your ears， 就係我哋叫 ear bones 其中之一啦，就叫 stapes. Alright, stapes. And then the last one, our bones stop growing when we become 16. Okay, 唔會再生㗎啦。So it's like 16-year-old, your height are likely determined. Alright, 16 years old. I'm sorry about that. I am above 16 already. And the last thing is about the density. 佢哋嘅密度啦。But the density continues to increase until late 20s. Okay? So as I always say, please keep your body healthy like until late 20. Okay? So it's like saving money. Okay? The more money you save, the better health you will get and a smoother path you will have when you become an adult. Alright? So that's all for this video. I would say this is the 7.2 part 1. Alright, so in the next part, we're going to continue talking about the appendicular skeleton. Okay, 就會講其他嘅骨頭啦。Alright, so I'll see you in part 2. Bye bye.